Hey everybody, welcome back to the Affinity Stream Podcast. I am Control, joined as always by Riley, Sarah, Charlie. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Good to see you. How's your arm there, Riley?
It's okay. I'm
All right,
surviving.
good to see it. You should be clear, stay clear of those skateboards and those skate parks. All right.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Today's movie is called The Zone of Interest, 2023, rated PG-13, runtime of 1 hour and 45 minutes. If you have not seen this movie, spoilers are ahead. Before we get started, please, guys, join us on our social media accounts. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We are at Affinity Streaming Podcast. In this movie, an Auschwitz commandant and his wife are living their best life while next door to the camp. All right, Charlie. Dig in.
I thought it was a really interesting movie. Very heavy. But yeah, it was kind of made my skin crawl, you know? What did you guys think?
It was really dark and I don't know, it was slow. I didn't really enjoy that very much. I like how they told it and it kind of left a lot of room for you to think, but some of it was weird and yeah, it's just like it's well done for what it is, but it's not an enjoyable movie in the sense, I don't know. Don't think people are going to be happy ever watching it.
Yeah, for me it was more like I think like the purpose it was like well done because it's a very different movie instead of like telling a story like a kind of like well rounded story. It just like
It's a portrait.
exactly
Story,
it's a portrait and yeah the angles of the cameras like they were always at the same place in
Flat,
the flat
Yeah.
like in the house. They're not telling like a whole story. It's just like showing how they were living and
Yeah.
there was no music and also they were living like if you see the movie it's just fine in some regards, in some points of course not, but the background sound it was all the shots like people screaming. It was like what it wasn't there was like the sound was like the reflection or of what it wasn't being told, that
Yeah.
it was like the point of the movie.
Yeah.
So I think that was like an interesting point to like portray that. And I think it's a one-time movie. Like I can watch it once and I that's all. Because
Yeah, I
I
agree
feel
with
like
you.
it's not enjoyable, but I think it's well done.
Yeah,
So
it was
it's
from,
that in that regard, you know. And
yeah,
yes, it
from
was
like an
slow.
artist's perspective, it was a great film. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but at the same time, like I was waiting for some story behind it between, like I don't know, Rudolph and his wife, or something major to happen, and it wasn't. Like the major thing, it was the whole thing.
Yeah, but I
You
think
know
that's the point, is that
Yeah.
it's just
exactly.
normal.
No.
That is
But I mean, the first 20 minutes, I was like, okay, are we gonna like that something major is gonna happen to this family or not? And after 20 minutes, it was like, oh, okay, no, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, or then I don't know, like the children like asking something, or the teenagers like being more. Well, there was like that teenager that was like more against it, and it was like leaving food, like at night.
She was
Um,
Polish.
well, Polish, well,
Well,
yeah.
she was part of like the occupied.
Yeah,
territory,
but
like,
but at the same time I like that they portray that too, that they were like, you know, like they picture that it was like super normal, like
Yeah.
that way of living,
yeah.
which was very messed up, but it was
Yeah.
like this. So also an interesting movie of like filmmaking, like wise,
Yeah.
not for storytelling or entertaining like the audience.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's
Honestly.
like a rewatchable type movie. I don't think it's something
No.
you
Well,
like.
yeah, they're not trying to make a fun movie to
Yeah,
watch.
but it was interesting. I enjoyed it. It was like very heavy, like not something you want to watch on like a Saturday morning and then go out and walk around. It was just
Yeah.
It's probably when you
that
do want
way.
to watch it, so you can go walk around.
Yeah, go walk around
You'll
and,
feel
and,
better
and
after.
Yeah.
yeah.
go out back into the sun.
It was directed by Jonathan Glazer. Released December 15th in the U.S. Loosely based on a novel of the same name by Martin Amis. starring Christian Friedel as Rudolph Haas. 93 critics on Rotten Tomatoes, audience score of 78, and a 6.6 on Film Affinity. I can definitely see how the audience didn't enjoy this movie as much as critics did.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
makes more sense. Yeah.
Yes. So, did you have a favorite moving or emotional scene? Anything, Sarah?
I mean, there's a lot of points. Like, I feel like the children, like, one of them was like, he was playing with the snow, you know? And the other one, he was playing with the, like, dices in the room. And the background sound, it was terrible. Like, it was, like, so hard. And
Yeah.
you just see the child, like, just fine, and
Yeah.
so oblivious of their surroundings, which,
Well, worse than oblivious. He knows and just
yeah,
it's just normal.
it just normal.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
just normal.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Which-
oh yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah. And I don't know, like,
He
how.
made some comment too, like, "Oh, don't do that again," because he like looks out the curtains to
Yeah.
look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, when they were about to drown the guy for fighting over the apple.
Yeah, yeah.
He looked out the
apples
window
that the
and
girl
said,
was leaving.
"Don't do that
It's like-
again."
The Heisen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was hard. Yeah, it was very, like, shocking to see, like,
Yeah.
that normality, and
Yeah, just how normal it is.
and how, like, cold blood kind of thing people were, like,
Yeah.
not, yeah, empathizing with what's happened, like, next, like, after that wall,
Yeah.
Yeah, when the kid like said about the snow, I was just like, oh, that's so bad.
And what
And-
about, like, the lady conversation, like, in at the river, saying, like, they're having the best life.
Yeah, that was my scene. Like their conversation at the river when
Oh,
she's
yeah.
just like, "Oh, I don't want to leave here. This is great. I'm
Yeah.
building
This
our
is great. Yeah.
our wonderful
Yeah.
life here." I just
Yeah,
thought,
and then it makes you feel kind of gross because you almost feel like some sympathy for the guy, and then you remember he's like burning people alive
yeah,
and like calmly discussing in a room like what's like the optimal strategy. Like, oh, this one you can do like 3,000 people per day, and it's like, holy shit!
Yeah.
This is like a casual conversation in like a meeting room,
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Not
it
how
was
to be
it was
efficient.
funny. Like the wife was being like really aggressive, and I thought he'd be like, you know what, like these people kill people for a living. You think they won't get rid of me? Like I'm not gonna complain to Hitler about
Yeah.
where I live, and she's just like, no, we have to live here. I just thought that was like. It was really like one of the only few pieces of acting they had to do too, because everything else was just
Yeah, the other one, like,
observing.
the dialogue was very, like, filling the space. Like, there was, like, a major, like, dialogue for, like,
Yeah.
leading, like, the story. Just, like, real conversations. They were, like,
Yeah.
kind of, like,
Just
not.
chatting,
Yes, just chatting, not
just
interesting.
casually
Like, small
chatting
talks.
about the clothes they're stealing from dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
Also, like
It's-
when the mom came to visit, like she
Yeah.
was the only one that felt like, okay, she actually
Uncomfortable,
yeah,
yeah.
she was clearly uncomfortable, and I was like at least glad that they had an element of that, and her just like with the ashes coming down and her just grabbing all of her clothes, and then you find out like she left in the morning. I was just like, I'm glad some person did that. But then the like wife, whatever Sandra Hüller's character's name was, like she seems so like she was slightly phased by that, but she was just like whatever. Like I felt like all these people were just numb to their surroundings.
yeah.
So yeah, I
the mom
was
interesting because she was like she said all the right words, but then I guess being in face to face with it was different.
Yeah.
She said all the language of like, oh yeah, I don't. Oh yeah, they're casually talking about like, oh, I used to go to this like book club run by this Jewish lady. I wonder if she's on the other side of that wall. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Ugh,
But-
that
but-
conversation.
Yeah, but yeah.
And
that's-
also
maybe
like,
that's
oh,
what
I wanted her
happened.
curtains.
Yeah.
Someone else got them. Like,
Yeah, but I'm sure that they were like what they
Yeah.
were talking about. They were
Yeah.
talking.
yeah, Control. Remember we watched Ben. That's what the movie was, right?
Hmm.
It was also
Bent.
about the
Yeah.
the gay guys in the Nazi prison.
Yes.
And I remember watching that one, and you're thinking like, man, I can't believe these like monsters exist. And you're watching this one, it's like, oh man, it's like too easy to believe these people exist.
Yeah.
because they're just
And-
having their normal lives and just
Yeah,
going
and
to
I was
school.
reading a interview with the director. He's just like, like we think it's all shocking, but we kind of do the same thing right now.
Yeah,
We're
look
not
another way.
like literally next door to atrocities, but we sit here and look at the news and like, oh yeah, 30 people dead. Oh well, gotta go get my Starbucks, you know. So he was just trying to make
Yeah.
That's true.
a point.
That's true.
Um,
But also, what you're gonna do is like a coping mechanism too. Because if you're like worried about like all the problems in the world, you wouldn't leave.
that's true.
Well,
And go
yeah.
ahead.
No. Like because the world is very messed up,
Yeah.
It's called
The world
anxiety
is
and
messed up.
depression.
and you're just trying to do your life and trying to be good to the people you're close with, and not trying to do harm to anyone else. So that's the best we
Yeah,
can do.
a lot of our normal movie questions don't really apply to this movie.
No.
But did you have a favorite character or actor or moment in the movie
No,
that
they're not. Yeah, I
you?
don't really even classify them as like characters. Really, they're like
Yeah, you just
Yeah,
kind
they're
of
best
not.
watch.
performance,
Yeah,
I would say.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're not really trying to act. Like they're trying to act, not acting.
Yeah.
So I will say this is one of the first movies where I actually had to like go to YouTube and cite like Zone of Interest explained because was confused at a lot of parts. Like I wasn't sure what the like black and white apple part was at first. But and then the like cut
That's
to
a lot
like
of
modern
sense.
day and them cleaning the
Yeah.
museum. Like just a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
looked
those
up the
things
modern
just
day like reference after because I was like, what was the relevance in like him throwing up and then going to that? And
The
I mean,
current period.
my thought was okay, like he's realizing what he's actually a part of and how it's gonna like live out and play out in the future, and that's what led to him like throwing up. That was like my initial thought, but I was like, I just need to Google it and see like what like people are saying about it, which was a very similar thing, but they also added like the difference between because he was so like this is what I do, and it said because
Yeah.
this is based on a true story, like this guy was like Hail Hitler up until he was in the execution chair.
Yeah.
So like it wasn't like a mental thing, but people online were saying like the difference between your body realizing something's wrong and mentally just being numb to your surroundings. I was like, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
he
also
was
maybe he got sick too because all the toxics that they were breathing, like well, the ashes and everything. I don't know, lungs, and I don't know. Like I don't either like find a very like good connection with he got sick and anything else. So
yeah, I
yeah,
don't
I
know if
don't
he
know.
really got sick or they just threw that in the movie.
But he
Hmm.
threw up.
Yeah, but I don't know if they just threw that in the movie or if he
Ah, yeah, you're
yeah,
saying it in
that
real life.
really
Got it,
happened
got it.
because he went on to do worse stuff like after that time
Yeah,
period.
yeah,
So
completely.
it
No,
was,
I don't think mentally he regretted anything. It said online he was not remorseful when it was all
yeah.
over.
And I just like find it fascinating that like so I think like his youngest kid is like still alive somewhere. Like,
Yeah, I was
can you
thinking that like
imagine
those
like
kids can still be alive
yeah,
Yes.
and just
and
being
he
like,
probably has grandkids running around here. You know,
yeah,
it's just funny. You never know.
That's
yeah.
true.
All right, so guys, in the end, are we recommending this movie to friends and family?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's an informative like perspective. Like it didn't really like teach me anything I didn't know before, but at the same time,
Well, I think it's good to like
it
see
left you like
to see it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
to see it and to like sit with it for a bit and
Yeah.
just like let your brain digest that emotion, just to be aware of
Yeah.
there's some really sucky parts of history, and
Yeah.
yeah, like it's better to know than not know.
Yeah.
That is correct.
No,
Not
I
recommending.
wouldn't recommend it. Just if you like into like the type of production that production team does,
And
like A24, because they're always like doing like this type of kind of indie independent films. But yeah, I feel like um it didn't bring anything new, and I mean, if you want to be informed or something, yes, but yeah, that wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I disagree. I think it brought a lot of new, like, because a lot of times those movies are like very dramatic and over, like, I don't want to call them
Yeah.
over the top, but I think it is different to make it just so normal. There is
Mhm.
nothing dramatic about it, and if something like when
Yeah,
something
that
like
was
that
the
happens,
only
there's a lot
part.
of people that like just go on with their lives.
That's
and
the
just
only
take part
part
in
that
it
I
because it's just
did
a job.
enjoy, that they kind of like portrayed like the normality
Yeah.
of the situation, which it was like very extreme and not
Yeah.
normal
Yeah,
and very messed
yeah, like all the
up.
things
But
they were saying would be like psychotic.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Like,
And you just like
Yeah.
watch the kid like laying in bed playing with like the gold teeth like
Yeah,
left
like,
over.
what?
It's like
Oh!
insane like things that just
Yeah.
like, and they're just like normal. I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah,
and
no.
I just want to give a shout out to the team that put this movie together, because I looked at pictures of the like actual house and yard, and it looked exactly like they completely replicated
Oh, really?
the whole
Wow.
like thing, and it looked exactly like
The original.
the original. All right, so we're not. I think I would recommend it as a, watch this not for like enjoyment, but for the like historical and
Yeah.
the like the
Yeah,
the
I feel like
filmmaking
you
part
need
of
to
it.
prepare. Like, I would love to know that what I was facing when I went to.
Oh, you didn't know?
I did know the story. Of course, I knew like it was like the zone of interest.
Yeah.
But I felt like yeah, I was bored sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't know
So
anything about
I
it.
need to know like if I'm gonna be entertained, I'm gonna be like shocked, I'm gonna be, I don't know, I don't know. It got me in that way, I guess, the time I watched it. So
All right. Well, let's give our shout outs of the week and move on to hopefully a funnier movie next time. Riley, go first.
I'm gonna give the best shout out and shout out your hands, because it sucks not being able to use your hands for anything. It's awful.
You don't
Yeah.
know what you got till it's gone, right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially when it's
This-
your right hand and you're right-handed and you can't do anything.
Nice.
So yeah, shout
Shout
out
out
to
to
the
your
basic
hands.
things in life.
Good job. Go ahead, Sarah.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Thank
With that
Charlie
high
Jr.
pitch.
Go ahead, Charlie.
No, I don't have one.
You didn't have one
I
either.
pass.
Awesome.
Pass, no.
I don't know if I've
Shout
done
out
this one
to
before.
Good
Shout out
weather.
to the weather. It's
Weather,
hot.
yeah.
No,
warm.
it's not hot. It's brilliant. I love
90?
it.
90 is too hot.
No. And long daylight. I love that.
Awesome.
What about you?
I'm gonna shout out my wing spot. I don't know if I've done this already, but East Coast Wings on Thursdays. Me and my homies go there. Me and my real friends go there. So
Oh, I
stop
I
it.
know.
if
I have another shout out
you have
for
another one,
Control making more merch. Please.
yeah. Well, shout out to Katie who made the merch.
Yeah.
All
Can
right.
you get a sticker I can put on my sling?
Yeah, I'll get you. We'll get a new stickers out there soon.
Nice.
Nice.
Riley, do you want to announce the next film so I can watch Charlie's face as he cringes?
Yes.
The next film we're gonna be doing is the new remake 2024 Mean Girls the musical. Poor Charlie.
Awesome. For our podcast listeners,
You did it just to like, get to
I'm
him.
excited to see it. I want to see what they did.
for our podcast listeners, please
Are you
go to our
watching
No, I
YouTube
heard it. I heard
and look at Charlie's face.
Oh.
All right.
It's okay.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure. For Charlie, Sarah, Riley, I'm